Have you been wondering what I've been up to lately? Well, let me show you. This is the third or fourth video I've had regarding the vintage tulip block quilt, where I'm recreating that block. Stay tuned to the very end and you get to see what I've done so far, how I take a pile of scraps and turn it into several blocks. So let me show you where I'm at right now in the reproducing of the vintage tulip block. Join me. I'm Angela Davis, and I am the 4 a.m. Quilter. So here's my pile of scraps that I started out with. I selected them, I ironed them, and then I started cutting. Now, if the strip was already a reasonable size, anywhere between 1 1/4 inches to 2 inches, then I accepted that. If it was anything over 2 inches, then I trimmed it down. And I just went through my scraps and my strips, different colors. If it was a good width already, I kept it. If I felt it was a little too wide, then I measured it and I would just cut it right down the middle. Or sometimes I would offset it. And some of the strips I had in my stash were already sewn together. If I had 2 or 3 sewn together, I tried to use those. I would just trim them down according to the size that I wanted. I didn't want any strips any narrower than 1 1/4 inches, and I didn't want anything any wider than 2 inches. I felt that anything in between was a good width for this particular pattern. Once I had all my strips trimmed down, then I started strip piecing them together. And I just randomly chose colors, and I just sewed a 1/4 inch. Some pieces were the width of fabric and some were just smaller pieces. I tried to put the lengths together so that I could create panels, what I consider panels of strips. And you'll see later on in the video what I mean. And I'm just randomly putting colors together and just sewing a 1/4 inch. I pressed all the strips flat to set the seam, and then I opened them up and I pressed them all toward the darker color. I'm folding my fabric in half, and I'm going to cut the center petal first. And the reason why I folded it in half right sides together is so I could cut 2 petals with one cut to save time. Now what I've done is I've taken one panel, I folded it in half, right sides together, and I'm cutting a petal, one petal pattern piece, but it's mirror images, so that's 2 cuts for one block. And you can see here I did that for all of those petals that I'm showing you on the table. And now I've put them all together, and I'm pressing a 1/4 inch all the way around. The only thing that I did differently was that Y seam where the 2 petals meet in the corner, I did not sew all the way to the raw edge. I sewed to the seam line, so I left a 1/4 inch open so that when I fold the edges down, they fold nicely and tuck under well, because I'm going to be machine appliquing these flowers to the background block. And now I'm laying out my background block, and I'm going to pin the tulip flower in place, and I pressed a fold down the middle so that I could center it nicely. And as you can see, I'm just pinning down all of my edges so that I can machine applique the tulip to the background. And of course, when you choose to do this block, you can hand applique it if you like. As a matter of fact, I started out doing a zigzag, but then I ended up just doing a straight stitch applique. I felt that it looked just as nice as the zigzag, and I accomplished the same thing. And the straight stitch was much easier for me. I'm just taking my time going all the way around, and I'm trying to be careful about removing my pins before I get up to the needle. I'm pivoting at those points. And I'm just continuing all the way around. Right here, I'm trying to tuck under that extra fabric at the point, So basically, I am doing a needle turn type technique, which is done in needle turn applique, so that I can get everything tucked at once. And then once I get that point tucked, I pin it from the bottom up through the point. Then I'm just continuing all the way around. I'm trying to get those points done first, because they're the most time consuming. Even as I'm stitching, sometimes I have to stop before the point with my needle down and tuck a little bit more of that point back in before I stitch it, because as you manipulate it, sometimes that point wants to pop out again. Did you enjoy watching that video as much as I enjoyed making it? If you did, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, give it a like, subscribe so that you can see the final video in this series of reproducing the vintage tulip block. And I've also created a playlist called the Vintage Tulip Block. I believe that's what it's called. Anyway, I'm going to add a link to it in the description box of this video, so that you can see the other videos associated with this block. So, one more video to go, and that's when I'm going to be doing the sashing and the cornerstones. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Angela Davis, where I share, care, and create with you, and I am the 4 AM Quilter. Bye.